up, y'all? Welcome to PopDotComix. I'm JoJo, coming at you from the Woman Cave in Vegas. So, the time has finally come, guys. We are about to review that one little film everyone's been ranting and raving about, Batman vs. Superman. Now, I went into this movie with tons of anticipation because, as you guys know, I'm a Batman / DC fan. Now, that being said, I hope you guys don't dismiss this review and think I'm just trying to be biased about it, because I'm really not. I try so hard to be objective about any of my reviews, and I like taking other people's thoughts into consideration as well. So don't just think like, oh, she likes Batman, of course she's gonna say such and such, or I really try to be open-minded. And I studied film in college, and I work in post-production right now. So I do know how to analyze film. I know what makes a good one. I know what makes a bad one. So please consider my viewpoints as valid. And as I said, I like seeing what other people think as well. And I think that's important, because nobody should be thinking their opinion and their viewpoint is fact. Like, everyone has the right and everyone is entitled to their own beliefs and opinions. So nobody is wrong. Like, that's why, discussion is important, because we get to share and, maybe see things in a different light. So I'm all for that. Anyway, yeah, let's get right to it. I watched the movie Thursday night, and I watched it again on Saturday because I wanted to see, like, oh, maybe I missed some stuff, or I wasn't sure about certain things, so I wanted to see the movie again. Plus, I really just enjoyed the movie. I went into it thinking, or not being so sure about how it would be, because that second trailer, God, it was awful, and I was really worried, guys. I was like, oh, I hope this movie's gonna be good. I like Batman, I just want at least Batman to be cool, right? And yeah, I also went into it without looking at other reviews, or trying to stay away from social media as much as possible, because I like going into a movie with no preconceived notions, with a blank slate, because I think that's how everyone should do it. Don't let other people deter you from watching a movie that you might potentially like. Don't let others make decisions for you. It's your life. You do what you want. If you see a preview and you think it's cool for whatever reason, it doesn't matter. You go watch it and you create your own opinions. And that's all that matters, right? So yeah, that's what I did, and I loved it. I had so much fun with this movie. From beginning to end, it just, I was enthralled. I cared about the characters. I know there's a lot of mixed reviews out there right now, because after I watched it, I did go and see, what people were saying about it, and see if I agreed or not. And I disagreed with a lot of people. I found, I know a lot, or the legit critics on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, they gave it such a low score, and I've seen a lot of people online just bashing on it, and I don't understand it. And I'm just trying to be honest. I had a ton of fun. Let's talk about standouts first. I'll go into all the stuff I liked, and then later we'll discuss some of the things that I feel could have been better. But first and foremost, God, let's talk about Batman. Batman was awesome. I was very pleased by Ben Affleck's performance in this. He is Bruce Wayne in this movie, and much like Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, Ben Affleck just was perfect for this role, and he really brought it. This Batman in general is really brutal, and he goes on like killing streaks, and he is so full of anger because of his past and what's happened, and that, you know, he just seems so jaded, and it's like he's tired of all the BS, and he's blinded to his morals now. He has no morals. Like, for him, it's just tunnel vision of what he thinks is right, what he thinks is wrong. There's no in between, and people that are wrong are going to die. That's what it seemed like. And that's a different Batman. We've never seen that before. I mean, even in the comics, that's pretty different than what we've seen. So I really appreciated that little twist. I liked it. I thought it worked for the movie. The fact that he wants so badly to kill Superman was pretty crazy too. And that's what I'm saying. He was so blinded by that anger and by, you know, just the fact that he's been dealing with these criminals for so long now. This is an older Batman, and, you know, he's just tired of it. And, you know, finally this alien comes around, starts creating this huge ruckus, and he's tired of, he's not going to let more people die, and he wants Superman dead. So yeah, that's pretty much the premise of it. In the meantime, we have Superman, played by Henry Cavill, or Cavill. He was pretty good too. He wasn't a standout for me, but he was really good. He was good. I can't complain about his performance. Like, he's a good Clark Kent, and he looks the part, he plays the part. I really liked the, like, inner turmoil that he had. It's like he's finally adapting to this human lifestyle, and, you know, just trying to get used to this world, but they're starting to hate him, so he's not really sure where he stands anymore. And, you know, there's that whole issue that goes on with him, and, you know, and his Lois Lane, he's in love with her, but anyways, that's a whole different story. But yeah, his character was pretty good too. It's a nice little continuation from what we saw in Man of Steel, so that was on point. But yeah, so here we are. Batman's good, Superman's good. You know, they got the two main things right, so that was alright. I was like, alright, as long as they have Batman and Superman good, I'm good. Like, that's good. Like, alright, I'm cool. Like, they didn't screw that up. Yes. Alright, what's next? Wonder Woman. Oh my goodness. What a standout. She was phenomenal. I loved it. I loved every second she was on screen. Like, I just wanted to see more of it. Like, I wanted to know more about her character. Just the way they sprinkled her in here and there. Like, oh man, what a tease. Like, she is definitely a highlight of the movie. It was hard to tell if she's like a good actress or not, just because she was in there so little. But when she was in the scene, like, she stole the show. So, I mean, I am a new Wonder Woman fan, that's for sure. Like, that's the thing about this movie too. I felt coming out of there like I loved DC characters 10 times more than I ever did. So that's really a good sign too. Sorry, one second. I never expected Wonder Woman to be that cool and badass. So I'm really excited to see her standalone movie, that's for sure. Batman's fight scenes were awesome. It really felt like you were just in a comic book. And same with Wonder Woman's. Wonder Woman's were great too. Like, her lasso, and when she gets introduced, she's like, you know. Oh, it's so cool. I had a great time with that, and you hear the music drop, like, so awesome. And I just had a huge grin throughout this entire movie. It's like a nerdy, like, oh, cool, you know, just geeking out. And when they introduced the rest of the Justice League, I thought that was so awesome. I know it's been getting a lot of hate for some reason, but I thought thought they did that really well. How they introduced Flash in like part of the dream sequence, and then later on when they uncover some of the files in Lex Luthor's drive, like, oh, so cool when you finally get to see all the different characters. You see Cyborg, Aquaman's eyes glow, like that is super cool, and he looks so like vicious too. And then Cyborg's was a little bit on the weaker side, but still cool. Like I'm still intrigued by, you know, what he's got to bring. What else? Flash was introduced there too again. But yeah, like they just did a great job with that, I thought. Effects were on point. Nothing looked super like out of place or like just too CGI. It looked good. Like it looked flawless. You believed it as part of their world, you know? And yeah, they just did a great job on that. Great job. Music was all right. Nothing particularly stand out to me, but I did think Lex Luthor's theme was a little too much, but yeah, a lot of music was cool. Wonder Woman's by far the coolest theme ever. So let's talk about some of the flaws now. There were definitely tons of great things about the movie, but there were some bad, and that's why this movie's getting such crazy reviews, because, you know, I feel like some people focus a little too much on the negative, that they're unable to see or appreciate a lot of the good, and that's unfortunate, but I was able to do so. Not sure if you were able to, but let me know what you thought. Anyways, let's get into it. So one of the big things that I didn't like personally was Lex Luthor. He was just another like random villain to me. He's basically like an X, you know. It could have been anyone. And that's what I didn't really like. I feel like his acting was a little over the top as well. I think he tried to do something a little like Heath Ledger, but it didn't quite pan out. And then I don't know, but it also felt kind of like the Jim Carrey Riddler at the same time. It was just like a mesh of the two. I was trying really hard to like keep an open mind about it, but it was just so hard. Like it just didn't feel like he was properly cast for this movie. I would have preferred somebody a little more, I guess, scary. He wasn't that scary, and I understand that he's not supposed to be like the Lex Luthor we know in the comics. He's supposed to be the son. Therefore he's like a spoiled kind of brat. But it still didn't work for me. It's really a tough role, I guess, and he did an okay job, you know. I like him as an actor, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think this was the right role for him. And that's all. That being said, he still made it work. It just wasn't what I would have preferred. What else? The other flaw with this movie was the editing. There were, I want to say, like 3 different areas where I felt it could have been edited a little bit tighter, where it just didn't flow very well. So that was, well, one of them was when Batman has that prophecy / dream sequence where he sees the Omega symbol. And the reason I say it is because I feel like it was a little too long. I wanted it to be something a little more like what they did in Star Wars, where Rey sees like flashes of different things and different images, and I think it would have been a lot more effective if they had gone that route, more like a montage instead of like a whole sequence of different scenes. Like it was just a little too much. We're already dealing with this ginormous long movie. Like, we didn't need to go into another sub mini movie, you know. That's what it felt like a just like a mini movie inside of a bigger huge movie. So yeah, they could have definitely cut that down, I think. Also, the parts where Lois Lane was trying to investigate the bullet, that again felt like its own little sub movie, and they chopped it up and just scattered it throughout the movie. Again, like, it worked, but it didn't feel fluid, and that was an issue for me. Like, it was part of the storyline, so I get why they did it, but I don't know. I just feel like some of those scenes were unnecessary. Like when she was talking under the bridge with the senator, that one came out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, all of a sudden, like, they're here. Okay. You know, like, it worked, but it wasn't executed in the best way, I think. And the last part where during the funeral and when Lex is being put in jail, like, the order of that was really weird too, because they went from the funeral to Lex to the funeral again to Lex to the funeral again. Like, that was, I don't know, I knew it was going on the whole time. Again, like the other issues, the other editing issues, it worked, but it didn't feel fluid. And that's the problem. Like, people need that fluidity, because then they feel lost. It did feel like, okay, we're done with the funeral, this is the next day, we're with Lex Luthor, and then it goes back to the funeral, like, oh, we're still at the funeral, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was a little bit, like, oddly placed. Like, the sequence of that was weird. But, again, it still worked. I knew what was going on. I'm sure you knew what was going on. It's just, it's not the typical way that you see an ending done, you know? Especially, because it also felt like that last little scene with the dirt rising, I feel like that could have been an end credit scene too. And they could have just ended it with the Lex Luthor. I don't know. You know, it really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, everything was there. It was just, the execution of it was a little weird, but, you know, you can't, I cared about the characters. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they didn't have enough motivation, or, you know, like, to do what they were doing, and I disagree. I saw motivation for every character there. I just didn't like Lex. That's my main qualm with it. Like, I just didn't like it. I just wish they had gone with a different character for a villain. But, you know, another little qualm that I had that I forgot to mention was the fact that, you know, when Superman is about to save Lois Lane as she's falling from the skyscraper, I just was like, why didn't you go save your mom? Like, I know it would have probably been one or the other, because it was happening simultaneously where his mom got kidnapped, but I don't know, like, I felt like he would have at least known that his mom was in danger too and done something about it. But instead, no, he just is oblivious to what's happening to his mom, but right away he's at Lois Lane's rescue for like the 4th time. So I thought that was a little bit cheap. Also, like, the part where Batman, like, all of a sudden, like, changes his views about Superman, like, I know it happened a little bit too fast, and, like, it was okay, because, I mean, I understand the whole Martha trigger. That worked, but I think what didn't work was the fact that it was too drastic, you know? Like, he wanted to kill the guy. I was full of rage. And then the trigger happens. He takes a step back, realizes what he's about to do, and realizes how foolish he is. And then the next thing you know, they're like buddy-buddy. Now, I think they could have toned down the buddy-buddy part. Like, there was no reason that Batman had to say to Superman's mom, "Oh, I'm your son's friend." Like that was too much. I feel like they didn't have to go that far, and you know, it just would have been a little more believable. But yeah, I mean, these are like minor, in my opinion, they're minor qualms. So yeah, but those were my negatives, and yeah, to me, those cons about the film, those flaws, like, they weren't big enough. They weren't big enough for me to be like, wow, that movie sucked. There was just so much more positive. There's just so much to appreciate, and I just there was never a point in the movie where like I was like, oh my god, this is terrible. This is just abysmal. I want to walk out. Like, not even. I was entertained. I had fun. I loved seeing my favorite characters on screen. Yeah, there were a little bit technical errors with the editing, and you know, the end and the placement of some of the scenes were a little wonky, but everything was there. You know, I understood the motives. I got it. It worked. It just wasn't perfect. And here's the thing. There's a difference between a film and a movie. And I think that's a differentiation that a lot of people don't really take into account when they develop their opinions about movies or films. A film is considered more of an art. It is something that has depth. It is full of like themes, symbolism, metaphor, allegory. Characters are well developed. Story is solid. You know, I mean, anything artistic and creative that goes into it that gives it that quality is what you can consider a film. A movie is on the other side of the spectrum. It's something a little more for mainstream. It's a little more for the general public to enjoy. You know, something that has solid action and solid characters, and you're still invested in it. It just doesn't have as much depth. It's not as artistic, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist or a literature major to understand or appreciate what's going on. Like, it's just a little more on the surface. And that's a differentiation I wish people would take into account when developing their own opinions about movies or films. It's the problem. It's the problem with these contradicting views that we're getting with Batman versus Superman. You've got the like people that are considering it a film, which I think is wrong. I don't think they should be going into this movie with that mentality, because of course it's not a great film. Like, it's an okay film. I'm not gonna say it's a horrible film. It's not. It's okay. But it's a great popcorn flick. It's a great movie. It's so entertaining. It's fun. The characters are awesome. Like, you know, and when you take that into account, you kind of start seeing like and appreciating the movie for what it is. It's if you're saying and judging it as a film, then you know, it's your right to do whatever you want and to criticize however you want. But I personally don't think that that's the best way to go about it. And you know, a lot of people want to hold it up to that standard of, oh, you know, this should be a film and we should hold our standards higher. No, let's be real. Like, this is a movie. This is a flick. Like, there's no real like hardcore substance. And I mean, there are some, but it's not, like I said, it's an okay film. It does have those elements of themes and, you know, maybe bigger picture like issues, but you know, it can be seen as an allegory, I guess, but you know, it's not meant to really. It's just it's there, but again, it's an okay film, awesome movie. So anyways, that's just my opinion. You do what you want. If you're not gonna watch it, don't watch it. But if you do, like, you know, take these things into account. But yeah, one sec. Sorry about that. Yeah, honestly, as a fan of these characters and a fan of comics, I really, really appreciate everything that the WB did with this movie. I think it was pretty ballsy of them to try to get these grandiose characters that we've known and loved for decades and bring them together into this movie all in one. And it's like, it's such an awesome thing to watch. And another crazy cool thing that they did was they killed off Superman. Like, that's unheard of with other like superhero movies. That's pretty ballsy too. I personally liked that touch, and you know, yeah, he comes back at the end, but I mean, who didn't know that was gonna happen? Like, you know, like it's kind of a given. And it happens in the comics too, so I wasn't too upset about that. Yeah, it's just, it's really cool what they did. And I think a lot of the comic fans will like it. I mean, I'm sure there'll be people that don't. But I like it a lot, and I hope you do too. If you don't watch it, you don't watch it. But if you do watch it, I suggest watching it twice, because the second time around, I liked it a lot more. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked it a ton the first time. But the second time around, I got to see these minor like nuances that I didn't really notice the first time around. And I just loved like everything 10 times more, and it's just like so cool. But yeah, also it's a 2.5-hour movie, so you're bound to miss one thing or the other. So yeah, I suggest watching it twice. But anyways, that's just me. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've watched it, if you haven't seen it, if you want to see it, if you don't want to see it, and you know, just your general thoughts about it. But anyways, that's all for now. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, give me a like or subscribe or both. I don't hate it. Yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.